I email with it on. I didn't look at the attachments, but I'm assuming they're there. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can
I'll
just
double check a bit
download
later.
it, because it would
Yes.
be shared, so it would be better if you can download it and keep it in your shared drive or something.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay. So we were still in the introduction. So yesterday we looked at the reporting framework. We started with an example. We went through the filter screens, all the options available on a report. We picked an example middle inventory report and created the report resource maintenance for it. We created a new design, added it to the menu. By the way, I fixed your menu definitions as well. So you could go here, you have the Merrill customizations. And
Yeah.
if you go under Merrill customization, you can, look at the reports and browse. So it's available here right now.
Yeah. I checked.
You checked this morning. Okay. All right.
Last
Okay.
night. Yeah. Last night.
Last night. Okay. All right. So do you have any questions from yesterday's session which we need to cover, or are we good to start?
I think we go to start.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Yep. We're all good.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. So we were at a point yesterday where we had to put a hard stop because we had covered bits and pieces from the presentation, and there were few things which were left out, which was the template designer. Before we go to template designer, I just wanted to cover the reason why we do the documentation. So we looked at the report import and export and development process. Why do we export the XML? Do you remember from yesterday?
Yeah. It's exported. It tells me the answer at the bottom for backups primarily. So we can promote it from the.
Yeah, so basically we are exporting the XML for promotion purposes and version controlling. And that's the only way we can promote a change from a development environment to the rest of the environments. We export the XML, check in the file using CVC, put that into a deployment ticket, and then create a deployment ticket and get it to the cloud. The cloud team promotes it as part of promotion process. But if you're not a cloud customer, really, if you want to export the XML, you could export the XML and go to the test environment and import the XML file. So that's available. But we always recommend, since you're a cloud customer, work with the cloud team to promote the files so that it's version controlled properly, promoted properly. Okay. And so it's a tool to for backing up the file, version controlling. If you look at the file from yesterday,
What did you open it with?
I have Ultra Editor.
Okay. Okay.
Can I open it with the Visual Basic Studio?
You can do that. Yes. Yeah, you can. Because it's an XML file. So if you go to the top, there is a version number. So every new change which you do, this version number will increase. Okay. So that's one another way to know which version you have So I have few customers who do the check-in and check-out process and go through the deployment process, but they also have an internal version controlling system. So they use this XML and put it into their version controlling system as well. So it's a bit tight from that perspective. But what I want to tell you is you could also promote this file from devel to test to prod, but then it becomes your responsibility to make sure you have the right version. If for some reason, if the file gets overwritten, if you don't go through the proper deployment process, then you don't know which file you have. So that's why it's kind of mandatory when you're in a cloud environment to go through the deployment process correctly. Okay, you own your processes. So, but that's the right way to do it. To check in the file, go to the deployment process. Okay.
What, Jed?
Yeah.
With the Google Meeting, is there any way when you share your screen, it takes up about half of the screen? Is there any way to make that full screen and lose the people side on the right-hand side?
Yeah, let me see if I can do that. So are you seeing the people? Okay.
So on the right-hand side, I see your face and then a G at the bottom for me. If the screen was able to fill the entire screen, that would be much better.
Okay, let me stop sharing.
Okay, thank you. I've asked other people, but they didn't know. What you might.
Yeah.
What are you telling you?
How was it yesterday? Was it similar?
Yeah, it's similar, exactly the same. Every meeting we have with you guys, but it's not so
How is
bad
it
at the
now?
same. With the slide, it's okay. But when you're sharing your screen with XML on, we're having to get up off our seats and walk to the TV to try and read it.
Okay.
If
Okay.
it was, it would help. Just sometimes on like on Teams and things, you can.
How is it now?
Stretch out. Same.
Same.
Yeah.
No, this is subtitles. Yeah. Settings.
Full screen.
Full screen.
Okay. That just trims the borders off, doesn't
Go
it?
back onto the dots again. All settings.
Yeah, that's all I can do from here. It doesn't allow me to hide. Let me see if I can pin.
The very top one. Layout.
No.
See the third one. Or this one. Or fourth one. Third one or fourth one? Put fourth one. No, the gestures still. That
was a bit better. What was
that?
That made it smaller. Was that you, Motef, doing something?
So I changed and I unpinned myself.
And then make the.
So if you go to change layout, maybe that may make it spotlight. Probably that would do.
No, you cannot move it.
Spotlight, that's okay. Yeah, I think it's a little bit better, maybe.
Now try full screen as well. There you go, Gary.
Yeah.
A lot better.
It's better. It's better.
A lot better.
I think we're good.
Are we good? Okay. Yeah. All right. So we looked at one of the examples. if we go to the mirror inventory report again and go to the design of it, if I make a change, for example,
Hello. You still there, Mukesh?
yeah, I'm still there.
Subsidies are now.
Okay.
It's to
Yeah, Our screen's kind of
load
frozen.
the file. Is it frozen?
Yeah,
it's still trying to load the file, load the.
yeah, we've still got the buffering circle in the kind of middle of the screen.
Design. It's the same for me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so does it come up? It loaded the design
Yeah,
for me
yeah.
now.
Yeah, we
Okay.
got it.
So if I, for example, if I want to add one more field here, okay, I can go to data and don't think we have the expiry date. So if I pull in the expiry date, I can click on that field, bring it here, and add that field here. And then I can pick one of the columns labels and then copy paste it and then just drag it. And I can align it for now, but then I'll show you that a little later. Yeah, so I added the field. I'm going to save this as a new design.
Can we take a field off as well?
You can take the wheel field off. Yeah. Do you want me to take any field off?
Yeah. So we've got two quantity on hands at the moment. If we can take off the inventory master quantity on hand, because we've got a subtotal as well, it's the same thing. So yeah, remove that column.
Simple
Okay.
enough.
All right.
Easy.
Easy enough. I was thinking that is the same.
Yeah. Because I just made the report look a bit silly.
Okay, so I've added this and I'll make this as version 2. Yeah. And I'll say version 2. Okay.
Yeah.
And then save it. It's going to update the design behind the scene. So now if I go and open the report, if I go to the layout, I'll see both the layouts now. Okay. But that's the default. That's the new one. Yeah. Report E2 that's the new one because I saved it as that. But now if I want my version 2 to be the default one, I can go to the manager. I can set which one I want as default when the user opens up. So I can select that as the default and say okay. And then if I open this now, to go to the layout, you can see that's the default.
Is this the same for the web UI?
It should be the same for web UI. It just takes few minutes because I made some changes.
Yeah, I understand the wait time and stuff like this, communication times.
Yeah, there is also, if you want to enable, have it done faster, there is a YAP command called YAP sudo QRA sync. Okay. This synchronizes the QRA data, which is the metadata information with web UI. So once it is run, I would recommend you to get this command permission added to your user, your OS user, and I'll send this as a separate email to you.
What's that doing?
Yeah, it basically synchronizes the metadata information, which is the change what we did now, back to web UI. Okay.
Okay.
It immediately reflects it. So
Which is good when you develop a document. You want to spread it to everybody that you gave the permission. Just run this command and everybody starts using it, which is good. Yeah, like.
so I go back to my report. If I go here.
Motesh,
and-
so a bit of delay, isn't it? Motesh, even though you took off the column of the report, when you run that
Yeah.
report layout into, that field was still an input criteria.
But it doesn't have it here now.
Yeah,
What you want
that is because the fields, as I said, all the fields which you see here, this is coming from the browse. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the fields from the browse. Yeah, that will be still there.
X and then save it. Is this going to be replicated?
Yeah, so if you save it now as your new filter,
Easy enough.
Easy.
then that change will be replicated. Yeah.
Okay. And then run the command again in the other one, so we synchronize with the web UI.
So if I go here and let me save this.
No.
Doesn't like it now.
Is it the right quantity on hand?
Yeah, the first one was the location quantity, and the second one was like the total on hand.
Yeah.
So just you call the strange name. How do you call it? Really?
Mhm.
What did you call it? Oh, you didn't click default on the filter. That's why.
What's that?
You didn't click default. You didn't tick default on the filter selection.
Yeah, but it's still not picking it. Yeah, when I'm saving it, when it comes back, it brings it back. So save.
So,
Yeah, I
so
think-
would you have to go back to the browse, delete it off the browse, and then run it again?
yeah. Then it should pick it correctly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if we go back here, you can see that's the one which has been picked as the default. That's because that's the grayed out one. So the one which is grayed out, that's the default one. Interesting. Okay. Let me save it here and then see if that allows.
But by rights, you'd make sure you got your browse right first before you start to build the report. So it's no big deal. Not too worried about that.
When you say the browse, when you do the format, just click on the column and just delete it. You don't put it inside this.
It's like I'll show you afterwards. You get like all your tables, and then you got
Yeah, it's still showing that, so it would be better to remove it from the browse itself. Okay.
Maybe it takes this filter from, like Gary saying, it's from master, not from the version 2. That's why.
yeah. It
You
keeps,
cannot
keeps
delete
looking
it.
at the
Yeah,
browse.
I see what.
But if it, if we're going to base a report on the browse, you make sure you get your browse right first,
Yeah.
rather than trying to delete the column from the report.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
But
All right. So yeah, so what I wanted to show you is, you can have multiple designs, and then if I export the file now, report resource export, and go to the Merrill one. I'll do a search and check out. And export the Merrill one. Put it in the same folder where I had exported it yesterday. It's complete. So if I go to this file, it's just updated now, it's 26. So
Yeah.
so you can see the version has changed. It's 6 version right now. And if you look for this one, that's the default one. But if you look for Merrill report, so here, this is the second design which is starting. So you have 2 designs, one for version 2 and the other one too. Okay, so that's the first original version. That's the original version, and that's the first version which is available. So you have both the
Then
version
delete the
in the
file.
in the same XML file. Okay, so when you promote it, if you don't want the other version to be promoted to the next environment, I would recommend you go ahead and delete it from the environment where you're working in, so that when you promote.
Can you overwrite the old version then export the XML file?
You wouldn't just wouldn't create a new layout, would you? Just save over the layout you've
Yeah,
got.
so yeah, I'm just asking for speeding up the thing. So if I can override the design,
Uh-huh.
like Mario inventory report, I don't name it version 2, I just name it the same. Is it going to
Uh-huh.
override the design and then they?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can export the XML. It's going to stay
Just the one version.
just the one version.
Yeah,
Okay.
just the one version. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So if you want to remove anything, you can select that particular version. So for example, if I want to get rid of this one, pick that up and then delete it. And that means that the unwanted design is not promoted to the next environment. Okay. So if we go back to the introduction, so it's one XML file per report resource object. So report resource object contains both your meta report maintenance and your design. Okay, so one XML. Also, the XML contains all information about the report resource object. The all report layout definition contains the references to the data source, but not the data source itself. So when you promote to the next environment, you want to make sure if this report is based off the browse has to be promoted separately. Okay, it doesn't pull in the data source itself. So the data source, the browse, in this case, the exec GB002, that browse needs to be exported and imported into the test environment separately. So when you create the deployment ticket, you would check in your browse, you would check in the XML and the menu definition as well, so that it goes all as one single package. Okay.
So obviously through the process that we've just followed, we can see how that we export the QRF part of it. How do we export the browse?
So for browse, you go to browse maintenance.
Yeah.
And there is an import export option.
Oh, is there? Okay, I've not found that.
Here,
Okay.
actions. So the GB002, right?
Yeah. Well, that was the browse name, but not the compiled name. There was an extra BR in there.
Yeah,
In the
so the
menu.
compile name it puts, if it's a power browse, that means it's a browse of which you are going to add it to the menu. It adds that GB along with it. So the compile just put GBBR along with it, but the browse itself is GB002. Okay, so you go to
Yeah.
actions, export,
Yeah.
Oh,
I see. Okay.
and then that also creates. Yeah, so if you go here, I can put it into my browser directory and I would name it as BB002. You can export multiple files as well. So pick all the ones which you have created. So for example, GB.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So these are all the ones which you have created. GB001. I can select multiple ones here and then hit that. And then these are all the browsers. So it will create one single BRWX file for all these browsers. Okay.
Just control click on them. Oh, you're dragging them over. Yeah. Right. So, yeah. Okay.
So I can put Gary,
Right. So,
something like that. So that will export all the files and all these browsers along with any field helps, any drill downs, any program information, any label detail which you have done, or any URL which is associated to that browse. All the associated data comes along with it. Okay.
yeah. I know it's not part of the courses, but can you just kind of, if you can click on the query tab, I can just tell the guys how roughly to create a browse.
Right. Yeah.
So there's this tab here. Just click on that.
So you created these browsers here?
Yeah, this is the screen. This is it. So you say which tables you want. So item master, which is the parts, inventory master, which is the stock, and the location detail. So these are three tables that I've chosen. And then I have to make these lines to say which field links to what. So the item number in the inventory table links to the item number in the part master, and then the domain equals the domain, the location equals the location over here, and you just drag them down into these boxes. So you've got the partner description, unit measure, blah blah blah, and then you can change the properties of these.
I understand.
And then just save it, and then you can click run to try it.
When you run it, it's going to do what?
So click run for us, Chesh, please.
Yeah.
Just.
So that's the browse itself. Yeah.
And can you click run? Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it shows
That's how it would work.
how it's going to report and what it's going to report. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. But
Yeah.
I might need one or two more times.
Yeah,
Show me
of
and
course.
then-
Yeah. Just to show you.
No, just one or two times I do it. I can remember that it makes sense for me. I know what he's doing. Indexing from the
Yeah.
part master, and then it's all the others are slaves, and it pulls the information that you need. So it's just I've done similar things in my application.
If we sit together as a team and say, oh, you want a report to do something, we can sit together and pull that bit together and then say, okay, we've got that, we'll go and make a report now.
Yeah.
Because the majority will be like that. I think it will we will have ones like the sales report.
For example,
but
the first one I can think of is if you print a bomb, it doesn't show you the location. We can add the location now because we know how.
if you can code the bill of material, you're a better man than me.
No. I mean, like, if we can add them after we have a bill of material, then you add.
The offset will just get the ones that we currently.
But yeah, you understand the logic of what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Marches, we're good. Thank you.
I've done similar things, that's why it makes sense to me, but I just need to see
Okay,
how
no
this.
problem. Okay. Yeah.
Perfect.
Include the menu definition also as part of your deployment ticket. Okay. All right. So we looked at the granularity. So if it's based on proxy program, you need to attach the program as well. Okay. All right. So we looked at the design. There is also something called as template designer. So if you look at the template designer, we'll be looking at this more in detail. So there is a menu called as template designer. And if you go to the template designer, these are all the templates which are available in the system. And if you look at the Merrill inventory report, I picked the template as active template portrait. That's the template which I had picked. If I go back to the template designer, and if I look at active template portrait,
Yeah, I remember that. Yes.
Which report did you pick? The most common one?
has
got
all
the
the logo and the report heading and all that information in it.
I forgot the name.
Okay, so if you look at this, the QD logo, report heading, the domain, the page header, all that came from this section on the top. And the end of report, which you see down below, is also inherited from here. The detailed section, it depends on how you, when you're creating the report, it had that report wizard where you selected the columns, what you want, and what is the layout. Based on that, it just pulls in the information. This no more is valid once you have gone through the wizard, because then it depends on what other fields you want to display, how you want to display it, in a stacked layout or in a column format. So it all depends on that. It just pulls in this information. Okay, so this is helpful in standardization. There is an import and export option for the templates as well. There is no separate menu. It's inbuilt into the template designer itself. So we'll be looking at this more in detail in the second session. I just wanted to show you. Okay. All
With
right.
the navigation of the top left-hand panel, it was changing, but I didn't see what you were clicking to change it.
Yeah.
Can you show us? Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. So at the moment,
Yeah.
the top left-hand panel of the designer shows controls. What did you click to see controls instead of what we saw there previously?
Controls. You mean this one?
No. So if you close that box,
Open it.
and where
Yeah.
the mouse point is now, in that box, top left of that box is controls. Previously, you had the 3 layers that said data, something else, and something else. How are you changing what that top left-hand box says? It's me. Is somebody else following you?
Can you open the design? Open the random design, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went into the open and then selected
Yeah.
this template.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
And then open, yeah. Is it stuck on yours as well?
Yeah, it's today. Is it doing the same thing for you? I
We just it's frozen screen.
want to make sure if it's yeah. If you try to open .NET and try to open the template designer, is it doing the same?
Okay.
Right. So at the moment, then your top left-hand side says controls.
And then it says pointer, label, column,
Yeah.
C, diagonal.
And how are you changing what that box says?
I'm not changing
And
anything. I'm just saying. Yeah, I didn't change
is that
anything.
template
Yeah.
designer that looks different?
Yeah, yeah. The template designer is different than the
Yeah. Okay.
design itself. So this is the yeah. So I
Yeah.
think you got confused with the design for Merrill inventory report, which has few more information or few more panels than the designer. Okay. So I will
Okay.
test that. I will be covering that
Okay.
in the template designer session. I just wanted to show
Okay.
you how the
That was my-
template designer looks like. Yeah, the template designer is used for uh, standardizing reports. You know how the report should have the headers with logo and report headings. So that's one way to standardize reports. Any change you make in the template, any report which uses, so for example, if I go and change the QAD logo to Merrill logo, for instance, it will, yeah. I think we had your logo yesterday. You guys had sent me, isn't it? So what I'll do is at this moment, yeah, you had sent it to me. So let me go here. I had put that in my Google Drive. Okay. So if you look at the picture property, there is a picture, and if I go here, and try to use this one.
Yeah.
Okay. And now if I save it,
Yeah, scale. Then we will use also scale there. Okay.
then close this and reopen it now. It has changed the logo for Merrill inventory report to Merrill one because it inherits this property from the active template portrait. So you should be able to see this change in web UI as well now. Okay.
Okay.
So if I go back
So
to
is that
web UI, yeah, go on.
that was just portrait? Yeah, it was just the portrait one you changed.
Yeah, that's the portrait one, which I changed.
Can we change the landscape as well? Because I think those are the two that we'll use the most.
Yeah, you can see here that has been changed now. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is all the designs, all the templates, what's out there, we will have to change all of them from QD logo to the to your Merrill logo. Okay. So that we'll have to do it individually.
Yeah.
Go here
Okay.
and pick it. Yeah, it's an easy change. So once this is done, then all this design has to be exported out. The templates has to be exported and checked into the CVC so that whenever there is a next update, it does not override this. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So any report which uses those templates would automatically pick it. So for example, let's look at the say. I'm not sure if the sales by inventory user mode. Yeah, so you can see that has been changed already.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, good.
that's one way to standardize the reports. So any change which you're making, it's already reflecting it on the rest of the reports. Okay.
You know, Mukesh, yesterday you created an extract for us which showed us the QAD reports and the menu item.
Yeah.
Is it able to show the template?
No, that is just the menus. For the templates, there is a browse. Let me look at what browse it is. Uh,
80% of them just using those two templates. Yeah, otherwise you can change 50 templates when no reports are using.
We'll change it just in
Just
case.
in case. It'd be our choice, wouldn't it, whether we use those as the templates or not?
Yeah.
No, we don't really have such thing as a template, it's just a standard character-based report, isn't it?
Yeah.
No graphics or lines or whatever.
So there is lines on some of them.
What, our existing reports?
Yeah.
Only with hyphens in. Going right
So, okay.
I need to check which report it is. It's one of these sources,
Yeah.
I think, maybe. There is a particular browse which pulls in that information. So I will send that across to you. Okay. I need to check what
Great.
that is.
No problem.
I didn't remember off that my head. Okay. All right. So the last topic which we had was browse to report feature. Any browse which you have in your environment. So for example, GBBR002, okay, GB inventory test browse, which you have created. This browse can be this is not a good example, but I'll try to.
I've got another example I'd like to be brought across.
Which one is it?
So there's one, it's very difficult with the existing reports in QAD to find out which parts belong to which purchase schedule order. And there's a purchase order browse, I think.
Okay.
It's not a GB, it's a standard one.
Okay. This one.
Run it for me. Or preview it. Or...
Yeah. Yeah. Can you see it?
Yeah, that would do. Yeah. So it's got the purchase order number and the item.
It's got the purchase order number. I'm trying to see a browse which I can group by. Okay. So this browse also, if you don't want certain fields, for example, I don't want the ERS options, I can also go to the columns and remove them, which I don't need.
Yeah.
So for example, what else can I remove? Need order, need date, description. Okay. So if I save this, so I can make a change here for myself. I can add it to favorites. Okay, so it's added here. So this browse now has the change what I made. I can also go to actions and there's an option for report. If I run it as a report, what it does is it keeps this layout and generates a report format of it. So
can't,
this will,
you can't add browses to the menu in Web UI very easily, can you?
you can add it to the
Make-
menu. It needs to go through a process again. First is once you've added, I'll show you how to do that. So let me complete this.
Stuck again.
Not sure, the environment is quite slow today. I'm not sure if is there any scheduled job which is going on or anything.
And we're not live, so no, we're just in development.
Any activity going on? Okay.
No.
Are you also seeing the slowness when you are trying to run it?
Today in training, yes, but not normally this bad just in testing. No.
Okay. So you can see here, that's the report. Okay.
Yeah.
It's based on whatever field, what I've selected in my browse. So this is one option where user can, without having access to the designer, they can make a change to a browse and use it as a report itself and convert that into a report in the format they want. This is not a good example for me to show you. Let me see if I can find another one.
Not a great example because the purchase orders that it's showing us are discrete purchase orders, not
Yeah.
scheduled. I don't know whether there's a purchase schedule. Right.
Yeah. I'm looking for something which I can show you. Let's pick item browse, for example. Okay. Okay, so I want to show you. So first thing what you do is, I'm not sure if you've done the browse training where you can do the grouping stuff, the grouping of columns. So here I will bring the product line here, okay, as my first column, and I need to select all my records. So what I'm going to do is I'm converting this item browse and going to group my items based on production line. Okay.
Okay.
So for any grouping to work, you need to select all the records first. Okay. So now if I go here and on the production line column and group by production line, so what it does is it groups it by production line. So production line 1011 has 6 items and like that. So if I go to actions and report and generate the report out of it, it keeps whatever segregation what I've done here, it does that automatically. It keeps that as part of the report.
Okay.
Okay. So even here, when we were looking at purchase order browse, if I had some kind of grouping, yeah, let's see this one, group by production or by item, by PO number, and then if I want to get a total of a quantity.
So can you make the browser do that?
This is the browse.
But can you save it like this?
Yeah, you can save it, add it. If you say add it to favorites, with this grouping, it will get saved as that with that grouping. So if I open this one, the second one, you can see that has saved with that grouping.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
So you can either
And
do
then if
or
I run a report out of this one, it will have my POs grouped by PO number with the sum total and everything. So these are all the browse features, but additional to that, there is option for user to customize their own reports without having a designer option. So this is one way given to the users to create their own reports without having access to the designer. Okay, so you can see here, it has the grouping, it has the summary, what I have created, and all that, all the fields what I needed. Okay, so basically the end users will not have access to the designer. You don't want to give them access ideally, but even if they don't have access, this is one mechanism through which they can create or create their own reports if they need. Okay.
I don't think that's, it's not very likely. I don't think much that we would do that. I can see
You would do that, but yeah, but every browse in your system has that options to go,
Your own individual.
has the report option. Okay.
and everybody has their own version.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay.
So how do you do that? Is you go to action, go to the report. Report is dynamically auto-generated, is opened in a new tab and auto-run. So here there is also an option for you to schedule the report. So if you hit and submit it to a batch, and you can even email it to anybody who wants to get the email. Okay, so that option is also there. So browse to feature, you can have the column size, the order, and the visibility. You can summarize it, you can group it, you can sort the columns. So chart and browse is not put into report, so there is a limitation of adding any charts, like charts or anything. You can add it as favorites, just like how I did. You can saving browse to favorites when you save settings, and pause any end user to perform report layout customization.
Just in NetUI though.
That's in .NET. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how you would make it. So yeah. Any questions on this one?
No, I think it's with the recording we can have a go afterwards. So yeah, that makes sense.
So at the end of this introduction session, there was an exercise to pick an example, which is what we did. We used, instead of the sales order browse, we used the browse which you had created, Gary, GB002. We ran through the same exercise of creation of adding it to the report maintenance and creating a new design out of it and adding it to the menu. And generating the XML. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions on till now?
No, don't think so.
Okay. All right. So do you want to take a 10 minutes break and then we can start on the report designer after this?
Coffee sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a coffee break. We will regroup at 10:15. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It looks similar to what I've done with a lot of the tables.
Sorry.
It looks similar to what I've done for a lot of the tables.
Yeah.
Gary, I'll stop the recording for now and then we can restart it when we start the session. Okay.
Okay.